So, welcome everybody. Nice to see many familiar faces today. Yeah, welcome everybody. So today we have like a couple of things. First, I thought because it's the 10th Parinirvana of Khyentse Rinpoche, we will maybe remember her life and do some prayers. And then, of course, we will talk about the Bodhicaryavatara, the 6th chapter. And that both together will last like 90 minutes or something like that. And then there's a small break, and whoever wants to stay, I was asked to give a lung of Lungchen Ningtik Nönjo, and that we will do afterwards. But the main thing is remembering Khyentse Rinpoche and the session on patience. Wait, I just have to mute some people here. It's quite. But can you hear me properly? I hear very distorted sound all the time. Okay, now I think it's better. Before we start, also today I heard is also a very important day for Mexico, because on that day I think they gained victory over the French. Today is also Ishani's birthday, who's here. And maybe you also know Khenpo Sunan Tsewon. It's also his birthday today. And just now, actually, I heard also that one of our Sangha members died. I don't know if you know Nick Kamen. He died this morning in the UK. He was quite a famous singer in the 80s and a model. And wait, I can show you maybe a picture. So that is... here, I show you two pictures. And so maybe also have him in his prayers, in your prayers. This is what Boy George posted today. And here on the left side is Nick Kamen. And that is him. This was 2 years ago in France. There was a Chimel Permanentik Drupchen. And yeah, he participated the whole Drupchen, but laying down because he had a very severe bone cancer. And so that was quite painful. And that was the last day of the Drupchen. So please also have him in your prayers. Okay, and then let's now celebrate Khyentse Rinpoche. I also prepared some pictures for you, which then you don't have to see me all the time. So let's hope that this works. So I just thought I'd tell a little bit about her life, and also in the end, when I met her, maybe some more personal things, and I'll show you some pictures and small video clips, and then we can maybe do some prayers for her swift rebirth. So to start, like long time ago, that was her, Sheikha Dorje Tso. She was a student of Guru Rinpoche and also a consort of Guru Rinpoche. And yeah, she met Namkhen Ningpo, who was also a great master and student of Guru Rinpoche. And by prophecy, yeah, they met. And then Namkhen Ningpo brought her to Guru Rinpoche. And Guru Rinpoche gave her many teachings and introductions to the tantric practice. I don't know if you know that, Vishuddha Heruka. And so Sheikha Dorje Tso, she practiced at that and gained realization. And she was very famous for spiritual attainments and especially miracles that she could perform. And then And this was Khyentse Rinpoche when she was quite young. She was born in 29 in Tibet, of course, and she met Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, so the previous rebirth of Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche in 48. And at that time, Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche was very, very sick, and his health was very poor, and he was a monk, and so his attendants asked him, to take a concert, give up his robes, because like on that level, like a concert is very helpful, for your health and your activities and your long life. But again and again, Khyentse Rinpoche refused. They gave him like a Tara statue, to maybe substitute a proper kanjo, but it didn't work properly. And then, accidentally, I don't know, quote unquote, Khyentse Rinpoche entered the shrine room. She was sort of lost. She wanted to go somewhere else, but then she ended up joining that ceremony. And then everybody thought, okay, this is really a good sign, a very auspicious sign. And and then she became the consort of Khyentse Rinpoche. Here are some other pictures. And she was with him for 11 years, as the consort, as a disciple, as an attendant, receiving so many teachings and transmissions. And she was also requesting many teachings. So she was really, the trigger or the cause for Khyentse Rinpoche's many teachings, because she was singing songs, through which she was requesting these teachings. And then at some point, they went to central Tibet. Here's Khyentse Rinpoche on the right side, and of course, Khandrila on the left. And that was 1955. And because her tutor, that was Lama Tsetin, he passed away there. I think there's another picture, yes. And from there, then they traveled to India. This is Khandrila, then in Bodhgaya. And I think there's another one. Yeah, here's under the Bodhi tree, Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche and Khandrila. And from there also then they went to Sikkim, especially to Gangtok. There's the Tsuklakang, so they were guests, by the Sikkimese king. And so they stayed there together until 59, when Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche passed away. Of course, Khandrila continued to stay there for many years. She was living there for many years, very secluded. Here, after the passing away, there's actually, they were building the stupa. Here's Khandrila, I think. And then this is Dodrupchen Rinpoche, big Nyingma master living in Sikkim. Here's the Khyentse Rinpoche. So they were erecting the stupa, this one, for the Kudung, the physical remains of Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche. And then Khandrila was continuing to stay there in Sikkim. That I heard was quite soon after the death of her consort or master. And she continued to stay there. Of course, was traveling also, and she was living really like a hermitage kind of life. He was practicing and not really going out much, not talking much. She was very quiet, and she was reciting the kanju and tenju. And she was never like the type who taught, but she was just there, and teaching by her being there, by her presence, her compassion, and her humbleness also. This is then also there in Sikkim. So that was this first one I wanted to show you. Sorry, I have so many things open here. And then also, she was also then invited sometimes to travel. So she did that. That, for example, was in Ireland. And then, yeah, finally, then she moved to France. I think that was 2006, where she stayed then in Les Rablings in south of France, you know, the biggest Rigpa center, I think, in the world. And yeah, many great teachers came also there to visit her. Like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Secretarian, and yeah, also Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche came a couple of times, and yeah, I was fortunate to be with Khyentse Rinpoche during those times. So he came there quite often and granted like long life empowerments. Like he came like, I don't know, maybe twice a year or 3 times a year. And yeah, so he was visiting again and again, and also Peva Rinpoche, I don't know if you know him. He's a great Sakya master. He is he was a student of Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche. Then Chimichachum Kuchok, also a great Sakya master, sister of Sakya Trishan, who we have seen earlier. Yeah, and also in Sikkim already, Kanjula was painting a lot, and she did that also there in France. Yeah, and then I was just checking my calendar. Then on the 10th of May 2011, that was yeah, the last time, unfortunately. Then I remember I was going to go to Australia to see Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche on the 11th of May. And on the 10th of May 2011, Khyentse Rinpoche called me and he said not to come to Australia, but to meet in Paris, like in a few days. So Rinpoche was, I think, yeah, was in Australia. So the teaching he was giving there was, he was shortening. And then he came to Paris, and Ogin Tokpa Rinpoche came to Paris. And yeah, so I just took out some pictures of that. So they all met in Les Rablings and did like continuous pujas and practices for Kandrila. So that was 10th, yeah, no, that was like 15th, 16th of May. And then also Kenshin Pema Sherab Rinpoche was there. And then also, yeah, Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche came, Togo Pema Vanga Rinpoche, and Togo Ramdol came also, and Chukila, so the big family, important family from Dodon, you know, what we know from Padmakara. Translation group, you know, these guys there, and so yeah, there were many ongoing practices for Kandrila, and then yeah, Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche had to leave then on the 24th of May, and then 26th, Kandrila then passed away, and but I wanted to show you one small video. I hope that works. So that was sort of in the last years. Okay, let's not share too much. Yeah, and then she passed away. And so her kudung was preserved for a long time. And then only in 2014, there was then a big ceremony. And that was amazing. There were like so many masters coming, you know, and then the stupa sort of was erected. Maybe I just can show you one picture of that stupa for her. I mean, that is of course photographed much later. But you can find on YouTube, you can find the videos of the ceremony. And so then the stupa was already there. And then around that, in the four cardinal directions, there were so many masters, like Sakatrishan was then on one side with one of his son, Gyanavacha Rinpoche, and then Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche, so the Khyentses were on that side. And then on the other side were Alaksenka Rinpoche and Sokya Rinpoche, and then the other one, or maybe then Gyanavacha Rinpoche was on that fourth one. But anyway, there were many great masters around, and then they were, conducting that final cremation ceremony. Yeah, and as I said, you know, she was not like a master that was like talking a lot, but it was she was really more like more just being there, you know, and being very humble and looking very shy, but on the other hand, not shy at all. And yeah, her love and her heart was really palpable, you know. Oh yeah, here I wanted to share one prayer by Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche to Kantula. I will just read it. So maybe you have seen that. With the blessing of Dzogchen, wisdom Dakini of great bliss, emanation of the Lady of Shelka, Ayu Dharma Dipam, long life lamp of the Dharma, to you I pray. Grant your blessings so all our wishes in accordance with the Dharma be fulfilled. So that was, of course, many years ago. That is sort of her name in the Sanskrit language. You know, Ayu Dharma Dipam. Ayu is like Amitayus. You know, we have that there, like long life. Dharma is of course the Dharma. It is like so Ayu is long life is Tsering. You know, and then Dharma is Dharma, which is Chö in Tibetan, and Dipam is like the lamp. So Dren, you know, children. So Kanto saying children, so the lamp of Dharma, a long life. And I thought maybe to conclude this small reminder of Kantola's life, we could, recite together the prayer by Sakatrishan that he composed for her swift rebirth. And this prayer, you know, has like a few stanzas, so it take so long. And so first, Sakatrishan is praying to Guru Rinpoche to invoke his blessing, and then he's supplicating Khyentse Rinpoche. He's also like, you know, you will see the Tibetan Khyentse Rinpoche is also then in the prayer included. Then in the next verse, he is praising Khyentse Rinpoche's qualities. And then in the following verse, he's mentioning basically that it's our lack of merit, you know, that Khyentse Rinpoche left us, or that we basically don't have the merit anymore to be with her and be in her presence. And then the last verse is, of course, like wishing a swift rebirth, so that she is appearing again in our world to guide us. So if you don't mind, we could recite that together. I will share it on the screen. Yeah. So I already gave you a little bit the outline of the text. So let's just recite it in Tibetan, in English maybe then. I mean, you can, of course, you can mute yourself and recite it in Tibetan if you like. But Khyentse Rinpoche is, I think encouraging us. Or, for him, it's very important that we understand what we are reciting. So hence I will do it in English, and please join me if you like. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. So. Okay. Lake-born Vacha Padmasambhava, the very face and embodiment of all the Buddhas, with the whole vast infinite gathering of sources of refuge, when I call on you unwavering in this heartfelt yearning melody, let this prayer of mine come true. Appearance and emptiness indivisible, you appear in the form of a wisdom Dakini, and have long been inseparable from the Lord of the Mandala. Delighting in the dance of the innate nature, noble lady, lamp of Dharma, to you we pray. As the fresh, brilliant light fusing experience and realization arouse in the profound and vast sky-like expanse of your wisdom mind, you appeared amidst the bright constellations of the Dakinis of the three spheres. As the highest, most exalted of all, to you we pray. Arising from the great elements of virtue and goodness, you appeared like the great disk of the full moon. But now that the light of virtue is obscured by the darkness of the 5 degenerations, suddenly you have set to the west like pure land. How could this be? So with all the radiance of the auspicious sign of a Dakini, may your rebirth swiftly appear, like the new rising sun, that dawns over the eastern mountains of the teachings and beings and makes a 1,000-petaled lotus of virtue and goodness burst into bloom. Let's do that 3 times. So with all the radiance of the auspicious signs of a Dakini, may your rebirth swiftly appear, like the new rising sun, that dawns over the eastern mountains of the teachings and beings and make the 1,000-petaled lotus of virtue and goodness burst into bloom. Maybe in Tibet. Dechia daki tsente ushaki, hyupe yangsi nishan wang mogang, tento shari trakpa nyurjan ne, gelek pemo daptung jorgyuchik. So as I said, that was composed by a psychiatrician. Yeah, that's about this. I really hope she will. I mean, I'm sure she is somewhere. That would be really nice to meet her again. Okay, that's about this. If you don't mind, then I would switch soon to talk and discuss on patience. If you don't need that, or if you have other better things to do, then please do so. Even though this is like an ongoing class where we go through Shantideva's Bodhicaryavatara, yeah, it's not ununderstandable to just join in for a session. Anyway, I will just start when I find the text. But while I'm looking for it, I can already close a lot of windows here. Just a moment.
Arne, can I ask a question?
Yes,
when you're reading, it's such a beautiful poem by psychiatrician, but there was something mentioning in relation to the West, using the word West.
Yeah, that was just a pure Lent, you know. There's a footnote. I forgot which one it is. It doesn't mean like West, like West Germany or West Berlin or something.
Okay.
or Belgium.
Okay.
You know, like Sukhavati is called the land of the West, in the pure land of the West.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Don't mistake it for California. So yeah, sometimes it sounds strange. We have some in the Kachi tradition, we have some prayers, you know, and then we pray like maybe all born in the West, in the land of Sukhavati or something. So yeah, West is you know, like all the Buddha families, you know, they have like 5, let's say, and then they have their own cardinal directions, and then they have their own Buddha field around them, and so yeah, we are sort of praying to be born there, but hopefully knowingly that it's not a Buddha land somewhere out there where we have to travel to, you know, but of course knowing that it's just another way of perceiving the same thing that we see now, you know, but we just perceive it differently. And then if we do that like in a pure land kind of way, then yes, we see a pure land everywhere we go. Here, I found the root verse. Finally. So yeah, when we study the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, then you know, it's translated as the way of a Bodhisattva, but way not necessarily in the sense of a path, you know, but just a style, you know, the way how we do things, you know, like in Berlin, let's say, or the way how Bodhisattvas do things on the path, you know. So it can be like style, behavior, conduct. Yeah, style, I think. That is maybe good. And so that is what Shantideva's whole text is about. And the aim of the whole text is to make us to this enlightened warriors or this bodhisattvas, not for the sake of being a bodhisattva themselves or ourselves, but ready to just to be a better tool to benefit sentient beings. Like Buddhahood is really just a tool. It's not really like it's not necessarily the main aim. It's the tool to be of better help. And it's a great tool because it has unlimited resources. Whereas if I look into my life, it is pretty limited in yeah, in many ways. So therefore, that is our aim, and to get there, we train in the 6 parameters, you know. And yeah, I just learned today, like really from Sanskrit, it does mean perfection. So the 6 perfections. In Tibetan, they understand like how it sounds like para and mita, you know, like going beyond. And we are going beyond what? We are going beyond samsara and nirvana, because neither of those are our aims. But apparently in Sanskrit, the main meaning is yeah, perfection. And so this is practiced when we look at how the bodhisattvas practice, you know, that is their style, you know, how they practice, that is their way. And all of these 6 are basically like an art of letting go, you know, like first we are letting go of stinginess and practicing generosity. And then we are letting go of yeah, negative actions and untamed behavior. And therefore we are practicing the perfection or parameter of discipline, ethical behavior, and so on. And then thirdly, we are letting go of anger, hatred, aversion, everything from that club. And instead we are practicing patience. And then, and this is where we are. So that is chapter 6. And then the following chapters are like, the seventh chapter is the perfection of diligence, enthusiasm or joyful effort. and that is letting go of laziness. And laziness we refined, like 3 types. It's not only the couch potato thing, but it's also being busy with unnecessary or negative things, or also it has the connotation of low self-esteem, or lack of self-esteem. So we think, I cannot make it, it's too big, it's too good, it's too long and too far, this Bodhisattva path. So that is dealt with in the 7th chapter. So that is parameter number 4. And so we're letting go of these 3 types of laziness. And then chapter 8 is meditation, and we are basically letting go of a wandering mind, that is like endlessly, meaninglessly distracted and wandering everywhere. And then chapter 9 is sort of the famous and crucial and most cryptic, I'm quoting Khyentse Rinpoche here, chapter, with the word cryptic, I was quoting, that is the wisdom. So we are basically letting go of everything that is not wisdom, like unawareness, not knowing the truth, like ignorance, dullness, not dullness, not too much, but ignorance and confusion, dodgy views, how Maitreya is putting it, according to Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche. So that is what we are letting go on that level. So all the 6 parameters are we can understand as letting go, and then practicing the opposite. And then if we do that sort of properly, and if we practice all of them, then that is really liberating us from both the extremes of samsara and nirvana, and we gain omniscience. Again, only for the sake of other sentient beings. The aim is not that we are then happily in our lockdown in our own room and practicing social distancing from all sentient beings, but it's really about reaching out, going out, renouncing everything that keeps us distant, from others, and being there, being helpful and guiding people, So that is the whole journey, and that is the whole aim. And within that context, we are in chapter 6. And chapter 6, as I said, is patience. And patience, again, doesn't mean like just letting other people use ourselves as a doormat, or taking advantage of ourselves or being passive. But it just means like being undisturbed and being unshakable, and being able to keep a peaceful mind, while being in difficult situations, but of course also in non-difficult situations. So like basically keeping a peaceful, undisturbed mind all the time. That's what patience is. And then once we are able to do that, then we can react properly, and then it might be good to leave the situation. It might be good to keep silent, or it might be good to react and say a nice word to the other person, or maybe it's good to give a scolding. But for that, to know what is the best to do in that situation, we need to be patient. We need to be free of anger. Otherwise, we will have very limited and strange view of the situation, and it will be a mistaken view, and therefore a mistaken conduct and behavior or reaction, and therefore it will be klesha and karma. And as we know from the second noble truth, that is the cause of suffering. Since this is what we want to avoid, patience is crucial. Okay, that was like a, too long introduction to where we are. We are in verse 59 in the 6th chapter, and there it is still about, being patient, not getting angry. And here it's the context that we think that our ego thinks it is justified to be angry with others because they might block our they might block us gaining some possessions or having some wealth, So if you know a little bit about Shantideva, there's always like, he's always showing what kind of justifications we might come up with, why anger is justified. And so here there are some justifications that are coming up, you know, why we think, yeah, it's okay to be angry because the other people, they destroy my reputation, or they destroy my wealth, or they destroy the opportunity for me to gain wealth, and therefore it is okay to be angry. Please have that in your mind. And with that, we could start. But if you have anything to be discussed first, please do so, whatever it is. Okay, then it's, oh yes.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed, and that's why it takes a while to like click in. Could you please just clarify what's this other teaching? You're in a current teaching course. Could you just please let me know where and what that is, and is it still possible to enter? And you're just doing this as a special treat today because of Khandro's passing 10 years ago. Just very briefly, so I can.
You're basically in it now.
Okay, great. But it's a one-time only, or everybody else?
Yeah, so I think this one I'm doing since 2018. So we are going through Shantideva's Bodhisattva, which I tried to summarize a little bit, and yeah, we meet like at the moment only once, but usually twice a month. And then, yeah, I'm going through the verses, and then we discuss on the topic or on other things. And yeah, it's completely open and everybody can join. Just recently, I created a habit of doing these sessions on days that mean something to me. Like today, Khyentse Rinpoche's Parinirvana, and last time it was basically a celebration for Mandarava, because it was a Guru Rinpoche day, which was only special. I mean, of course, Guru Rinpoche is always special, but Mandarava was playing a crucial importance there. So sometimes, like I put these two things together, and then I say some few things about this special day of that day, and then I go into the Shantideva's text, and yeah. But as I said, everybody is welcome, and recordings are also available, you know, if you have missed one class. And yes, I think 2018, 18, 19, 20, so we are in the 4th year. Yeah, I'm always also miscalculating those things. Before that, I also completed one circle already. 2014, that lasted also like 5 or 6 years. And this one started actually with a Russian translation, but then it turned out that people didn't need the Russian translation, and it's a little bit, it's super slow anyway. I'm sorry for that, but it is because we always have nice discussions. But it was even slower, of course, if everything was translated into Russian at the same time, even though the translator was pretty fast. Yes. So if that's this, then yeah, please have in mind what I said earlier, where we are in the text, and I will display the verses. Of course, this one is difficult to display. And I'm using Stephen Batchelor's translation, and not because I'm a big fan of his view, because Khyentse Rinpoche is sometimes pointing out some cherry picking in his view of yeah, being a little bit too much on the ultimate level, and disregarding relative things or topics like karma or rebirth. But his translation, for me as a non-native speaker, is definitely the easiest. It's very direct and to the point, and not so difficult words. I know many people prefer Padmakara's translation. Yeah, and Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, for example, yeah, but it's for me, it's a little bit more difficult because of the high level of the vocabularies. So here, the first two lines is a little bit like what we might doubt, you know. So although maybe I just talk about 59 and 60 together, then you know where we are going. Although I may live happily for a long time through obtaining a great deal of material wealth, then Shantideva is answering, I shall go forth empty-handed and destitute, just like having been robbed by a thief. And then our ego might be doubtful again. Surely material wealth will enable me to live, and then shall be able to consume evil and do good. Then Shantideva is saying, but if I'm angry on account of it, will not my merit be consumed and evil increase? So, so our ego might think, yes, but it's good to be wealthy, you know, and because especially in a more poor situation, you know, then wealth can really help you, you know, to get the medicine you need or vaccination you need, you know, but also to get some luxury stuff. So we might say, yes, it's necessary to be wealthy because, yeah, we might live happily, healthily, and long because we are healthy. And then Shantideva is saying, yes, that could be the case, you know. But if we just accumulate wealth for the sake of accumulating it, you know, that doesn't make really sense, because when we die, you know, we have to leave everything behind. We have to go like nakedly. I think Khyentse Rinpoche once said, we don't even can bring our underwear, and so therefore we cannot even bring this smallest thing. Oh, actually, Woody Allen said something opposite. I think Woody Allen said, in case there is rebirth, I better pack a second underwear or something like that. But anyway, that is not directly what Shantideva said here. So he was more on the point that we have to leave everything behind. It is like being robbed, you know, yeah, by a thief, you know, and so we have to go nakedly. Even it doesn't matter, you know, how rich we are or how many friends we have, you know, like everything will be, we have to leave behind, you know. Again, another practice of letting go. Really, I honestly think we can translate every Buddhist practice as letting go. But I'm happy to debate on that. Oh yeah, Nadia, thank you. That is definitely the prayer that some people ask for. Oh yeah. And the next life we will come again nakedly, empty-handed, and the only thing that is sort of our baggage is our karma or merit, you know. So that is what we will take with us, and that is also determining sort of where we are going, you know, like when, where, which location, who are the parents, you know, that kind of thing. Everything is determined by that. And therefore, that is Shantideva saying that is what we should focus on, you know, not so much on possessions, fame, position, but we should focus on accumulating merit and wisdom, basically, because that is what we will carry with us, and that is what only makes sense. Then in verse 60, there was in the beginning again the argument, you know, of the doubts we might have, where it says, yeah, but if I'm rich, you know, I can have a long life and I can have a healthy life, and then I can even use my richness in an altruistic way, you know. So I can accumulate marriage, and therefore, so that is the point, you know, and that doesn't sound so bad. But then the ego is saying, and therefore, therefore, being a little bit rich, or being rich and wealthy and having a good position is important because I can use it to benefit others. And therefore, it is reasonable to be angry with those who hinder my accumulation of wealth. So that last part, of course, that that conclusion was totally off, totally wrong, you know. The first part was okay. And yeah, Shantideva is therefore answering to the second to the second part and saying, yes, if you're getting angry for the sake of worldly gain, then that doesn't make any sense, you know, because then you will actually destroy your marriage and you will increase your karma and kleshas. And as I said earlier, karma and kleshas are the only cause, or these are the causes for all the suffering now and in the future, and they will increase. So therefore, even though, yes, if you're really honest and altruistic, then yes, we can use possessions, wealth, and a long life to benefit more beings. But that is okay. But we cannot use that aim as a justification to be angry all the time whenever somebody is taking away our wealth or stopping us or hindering us to accumulate wealth. So that is what 59 and 60 is about. And then maybe one more, and then let's discuss. So then we have 61. And what use will be this life of one who only commits evil if for the sake of material gain he causes the merits needed for life to degenerate. So this is completely Shantideva speaking. I mean, he's always speaking, but sometimes he is playing the role of an opponent. So here he is saying, okay, let's accept that from a Buddhist point of view, the aim or the goal or meaning of life is to accumulate merit and wisdom. And by that, also negative karma and so on is purified. But this whole thing, you know, this whole meaning of life will be ruined and destroyed, you know, if on the way of accumulating wealth or good position, we increase our anger or our negativities. And then, yeah, that's a big question, you know, what good is that life for, you know? Are we not wasting our precious human life, you know? What is then the meaning of this life if we constantly are so entrapped and entangled in these 8 worldly dharmas, you know, of hope and fear for gain, and hope for gain, of course, hope for fame, and then fear of the opposite, you know, loss and or disfame. And we are constantly accumulating negative karmas to gain those worldly things, or to be away from negative worldly things. So what kind of life is that? And some commentators even say, why not then die today? I mean, maybe it's better to die now instead of continuously only accumulating negative karma. Yeah, I'm sure, I think we discussed also last time, and on that, of course, the good thing is everything is changeable. So therefore, somebody who is doing all the negative things at the moment can change. So therefore, yes, please stay alive, but also change. You know, don't continue to harm others. You know, don't continue to harm yourself, but do something that is beneficial for yourself and others, and that is then the Bodhisattva's way of life here. Yeah. Okay, guys, now you please say something. Is there anything to be discussed?
I have. It's all about being obsessed and attached to having material gains. But when balancing these with generosity, and if you are in a situation where you are being asked, let's say by the same person or group, on and on and on, you have given a donation, like to help with animals, and then a month later, and the person comes and asks for help again and again and again, because they know that you are going to help. And it's not that you want to accumulate wealth, but at the same time, it doesn't mean being attached to not disposing of some money you may have. But at the same time, what am I trying to say here?
Yes,
if one, when eventually says no to an asking of giving a donation, like, as I said, to help with animals or whatever, would that mean attachment to just keeping the money in the bank account? Where is would that be a reflection of some level of stinginess, some level of attachment to the material thing that one has?
You know what, when I first came to Buddhism, I noticed when I asked teachers things, the favorite answer was always, it depends. This was so good. And I think that it totally makes sense here. And and if we elaborate, it depends on your motivation, I guess, like, for example, if you feel that this person who's asking you for money is like trying to take advantage of you, or knowing that you can't say no or something, and they only are friendly or whatever, to manipulate you to give more money, then maybe it's good to say no, and that is also the case, especially if you're not so good in saying no. So that is then also a good training. So with that motivation, these two situations, for example, it's maybe good to say no. And another third motivation why you can say no is also because you want maybe the money for another cause that you think is much more beneficial, whatever it is, and you don't have to, you don't have to justify that in front of others, even if you think it's just for your best friend, who's sick, then again, that's totally your decision. Of course, as bodhisattvas, we always want to find whatever we do, we try to make it as big as possible. So we are trying to include as many beings as possible and bring them as much freedom of suffering as possible for as long as possible. But yeah, that is totally up to you, and so saying no in just these three situations, and I guess there are many more. I don't think it's negative. I don't think it's a training in stinginess, but it is a training in other things, like training maybe to say no, training also to stop their tendency of taking advantage of you, or it's a training to keep your priorities straight, and to trust your own wisdom or whom you want to help with your money. But okay. of course, it could be totally stingy if you say, no, I don't give any more to the animals because I want a second Ferrari, Then that might be, then that's what I meant with it depends, so that then it's maybe a yes would have been better.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it wasn't for a Ferrari. Yeah.
Yeah, but some people, they need their second house, or the seventh TV or third computer, whatever, it's like endless.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. It depends.
Yeah, really. For me, that's such a great answer, And it's true, because like Khyentse Rinpoche is often saying, you know, Buddhists are proud of talking about causes and conditions, you know, about causality. And yes, there are always so many factors in place so therefore there's I think there's not like a universally agreed upon answer, you know, for any situation, but it always depends on all the factors and the people who are involved. And then it depends on your possible best wisdom at that time, your best possible compassion, and your best possible skillful means to then make the right decision. I mean, the right, quote unquote. Of course, tomorrow I always regret what I did today, you know, but that is also a good sign, because maybe I'm progressing. So that was my convoluted answer to the
I was wondering if I made just on the one hand pointing out, or what's so becoming so apparent once again is how intertwined. I mean, the text is you know, set up in these 10 chapters, and seemingly it's such a linear thing, and yet actually it's so completely intertwined. And we're talking about patience, but the 3 verses we just looked at, it's actually so much about the perfection of giving, if anything. Yeah. And I was wondering whether you also as a group have identified, and you were just talking also about motivation, and you know, it always depends, and it's such a multifactorial context all the time. Have you been able to identify as a group what actually helps us with developing this clarity or this patience in order to realize the perfection of giving, which is kind of what is referred to in these in my opinion, or in my first impression when I'm looking at these 3 verses.
Just a remark before maybe somebody's answering, but yeah, it really sounds like giving here, but the main logic is still patience, in the sense that if somebody is then stealing away my wealth or is stopping me to have it, then my default reflex is being angry. But Shantideva is saying, okay, that is not justified. Even if you do something good with your money, anger is still not the answer. But as we know from many songs, love is the answer. The one and only one. And of course, in Buddhist context, wisdom also. But also I want to say, you know, you're referring to the group. Of course, I see some of the usual suspects here, but there's still, it's always very fluctuating who is here. But maybe our birthday girl wants to say something. That would be nice. Ishani. Wait,
Thanks, Arne, for not putting me at all on the spot. Thank you.
I just spotlighted you. You're welcome.
Yeah, well, I didn't have anything to add, really.
Okay.
Yeah, but if there's something, I'll definitely speak up.
Thank you, and sorry for that. See, you get happy birthday wishes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for gathering wishes for me, Arne. Thank you.
But actually, an answer by Shantideva is, I think, in the previous verses of the 6th chapter, he is really emphasizing that it's so important to be mindful, aware, vigilant, you know, whatever you like, you know, 4th and 5th chapter. So that is super important, you know, to always check our mind, to be really clear what is going on with my body, speech, and mind. Not only the mind, of course, but yes, the mind is the queen or king or whatever gender, I don't know. And then the body and speech is following. So Shantideva is inviting us to always check our mind, be super honest, and see our strange motivations or hidden agendas. And then especially in the context of patients, trying to detect our small frustrations or irritations, you know, or teeny tiny bitternesses as soon as possible, you know, before they grow and become like a full-grown anger, hatred, and so on. So it's like a preventive medical approach, you know, like, you know, it's not a therapeutical approach, you know, that once you have a big anger, then you give the therapy, but the idea is to be preventive, you know, to notice it, you know, notice a tender sprout coming out, and then you deal with it, because that's strong we are, you know. But once it's a tree, then we need help, you know. Or then it's a little bit not too late, but it's late. So that is Shantideva's thing, you know. In some of the verses, he's talking about the fuel of anger, and so these things like slight frustration, irritation, small unhappinesses, dissatisfaction. That is the beginning, and then watch out for that. Notice that. Don't give it more fuel, and yeah, let it go again. Or depends on what jhana you are on, you know. You can just also apply an antidote, you know, like immediately, whatever is your antidote. You can have love and compassion in general, or you can try also to understand what is taught in the 6th chapter. Sorry, like Shantideva in this class is always my reference point. So he is saying, then yeah, you can also try to have the right view, you know, like what you mentioned, multifactorial kind of thing. So then you analyze, yeah, the other person has actually no control over their anger, you know, they are under many other causes and conditions, you know. They don't have the power over their emotions. They just want to be happy, but they don't know how, you know. Those things you can consider. And then you can think about yourself, yeah, I'm also too super sensitive, you know, like I'm this princess on the pea. So whatever small thing is happening, I'm already freaking out. So then also you see your own shortcoming, you know, because yeah, it's, as Khyentse Rinpoche is saying, you know, like, because our head is hard, therefore, you know, that hurts, you know, but if my head would be softer, then it wouldn't hurt, you know. So it also, half is always our side also. And then you can also remember karma, you know, that everything happens, yeah, like your karma is basically the master mind behind whatever you are experiencing and how you are experiencing it. So there are so many tools that Shantideva is offering us in the beginning of the 6th chapter to then deal with this baby kind of state of anger, you know, that is not really anger yet, but that is ready to go through puberty and then be, what is it called? Unbearable. And that is, of course, true for all emotions, like negative ones. And that is where meditation comes in. We have to be aware, and but it's helpful to be aware and notice, you know, whenever there's a small movement in our mind that is then hijacked sort of and turned into something like disturbing or destructive, and notice that as soon as possible. And then, yeah, as I said, depending on your jhana or vehicle you're on, you know, I don't know, you just apply, you run away from it, or you apply an antidote, or you try to transform it, or you try to see the nature of it. But at that stage, you know, like in the beginning. And then what is the saying? I always thought it's Garab Dorje, but it's actually Nagarjuna coming up with the example of, for us at the moment, you know, when something happens, we write it sort of, we write it down in a rock, you know. So when a small thing in our mind happens, you know, we crave it, or crave, I forgot. We make it into stone, you know, it's really like solid. So that is my solid emotion. but then the more we practice, etch it into stone. Okay. And I thought carve, that was actually what I was looking for. And then Nagarjuna is then saying, yeah, but then if you are more better or more trained in practice, then it is like writing not in stone, but it's writing on sand, you know, how we do it at the beach. You know, I don't know, everybody is doing it. I think we are looking at the ocean and we are writing stuff in the sand. And yes, it stays, but it's not that solid anymore, like in the stone. It is more removable, it's more flexible, it's not that binding. And then if we practice more and more, then it is like drawing into water. So in the moment while we are writing it, it's disappearing. And really, that is so Dzogchen, but it's actually written in Letter to a Friend by Nagarjuna. And yeah, I like that. I think it's a great example. So the idea is really to deal with our small kind of emotions, the beginning of emotions, like writings on a water. You know, the moment they start appearing, you know, the moment they're disappearing, because we are there with our awareness. We are not giving nourishment to them. Also, we are not rejecting them, but we're just letting them come and go, and then they do that momentarily. That is sort of the best preventive medicine, I think, that these masters prescribe. Katja, oh, thank you for having your video on. That's a rare occasion.
I put it on because I had a question. So
thank you.
I wanted to ask because a few weeks ago I had a situation that was complicated to deal with for me, because you were speaking about emotions like sudden emotion. But I had a relative that was in the hospital and I couldn't get news. And so we had, during 3 days, we had to wait and wait and wait and wait. And we had only little bits of news. And I found it very hard to, you know, stay calm, because at the beginning you just think, okay, you try to deconstruct your fear, and yeah, slowly your anger is building because you can't get informations. And with time, it's more and more difficult, because it sort of builds up one thing with the other, and like your first thought that it was difficult, and then you manage to clear that off, and then 1 hour later you're thinking, oh, I still don't have news, and it gets a little bit bigger. Do you see what I want to say? I don't know how to manage that.
So you are angry with a doctor, for example, because she or he is not giving you news?
Yeah, actually it was more like I'm angry with the system, because I know everyone is trying. I guess, I hope everyone is trying their best, but well, it's complicated, and I'm just scared, and so it's really it's hard to keep my balance in this situation.
Yeah, especially in hospitals, that is, or in the administrations also, that is like a common suffering, right? But I don't know, to me only there's mainly this verse, I think it was verse 10 of the 6th chapter, comes to my mind, of Shantideva, you know, where he says, this famous one, you know, if you cannot change it, you know, then there is no need to worry or to be angry, you know, and if you can change a situation, then there's also no need or to worry, you know, because you just do it. So I don't know, I can't think of some better answer there at the moment, but some things we just can't change, you know, that's it. That it's like, I mean, there are so many things, but of course it's nice, it's good to try to impeach a strange president, you know, like, but if that is not possible, then yeah, one has to accept it. I don't know, it's just sometimes the way it is, you know. of course, you can also then, what helps me is just focus on something else, you know. I don't know, my favorite mantra, you know, I mean, really mantra, you know, like, or Tonglen you can do, you know, that maybe you breathe in all this irritation and frustration and impatience of everybody who is in the same situation, you know, in the world, you know, waiting for, I don't know, you know, if you just propose to a woman and she's not answering, like, and you're waiting there. Or yeah, in a German office, or in every hospital, you know, and we are waiting for, yeah, again, a strange president to have done his 4 years. You know, like, sometimes we have to wait and go through it. And then, yeah, as Shantideva said, it really doesn't help at all, you know, to then be, I know intellectually it's easy to know that, you know, but then, yeah, try to not only know it intellectually, but really learn to live it. And then it's, yeah, it's more relaxing. Does that make sense, or is it?
Yes, it does. I really liked what you said about this verse about not changing it. I remember that moment, and I saved the picture. Another one, but I saved one too.
Yeah, and it's so often like that. I mean, like for me, I don't want to sleep, you know, I don't want to eat, you know, it takes so much time and so much effort, you know, but I have to accept it, so, you know, so therefore it doesn't really help if I'm angry that I'm so dependent on sleep and food. Yeah, I really like, and I worked in hospital, you know, and I know it's sometimes terrible, you know, like you have to let people wait so long. And also what can help, you know, is like, yes, so now I show you my other side. Really, when I was working in a hospital, and Pallavi, also I saw that you have something to say. I'm not forgetting you. So when I was working in hospital, so basically the answer could also be love again, you know, that you really have empathy and understanding of the situation that the other person is in. For example, me as a doctor, when I know there's somebody, let's say the wife of my patient is waiting to see me. I know that, but at the moment I'm with another patient, and then even though I'm on the way to that wife, then my boss is catching me, you know, or I get a phone call from another whoever hospital, and then the nurse wants something, and my colleague wants something. And then I have to, of course, first go to my boss, and then from my boss to the nurse, then somebody else is happening. So there's so many, it's so distractive and so fragmented, you know, this hospital life. Just since you started with that example, this is like, it's so annoying, you know. And then it ends up sometimes in longer shifts that whatever I do, I'm always too late, you know. Everybody is always so frustrated with me and so fed up. But I really tried my best, and even my best could be sometimes I need 5 minutes alone, you know, to just survive, you know. I took that even in stress situations just to survive, you know. So and for me, the toilet was always the best, because that is a little bit undisturbed. Yeah, just maybe, so and yes, so maybe, yeah, that could help also if we can understand the situation of the other person, that he or she is really trying the best. But in that case, maybe what is the problem? I think the problem is the system, that we don't employ enough doctors in that context, for example. You know, if there would be 2 of us, we would both be much more friendly to patients, much more on time, you know, and maybe do less mistakes, because we have enough sleep and all of that. And then, yeah, Shantideva could ask, yeah, can you change the system? If so, yes, do it, and no need to be angry. And if you cannot change it, then yes, to accept it, right? And also no need to be angry. It's also what's in the Bible, right? What the anonymous alcoholics are reciting. Can give me the wisdom to change things. Let me change things that I can change, or give me the strength to accept what I cannot change, and then give me the wisdom to differentiate between those two, something like that. So I think that is good if we have the wisdom to see, yes, this situation sucks. Can I change it or not? And if not, then try to just from your side at least do something positive.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, so I heard what all you said, and we've done the patience chapter and all of this, see it from emptiness point of view, see the causes and conditions. But of course, the question of patience is totally out of the window for the current situation that is happening in India right now. Every second day, there are so many people, so many closed ones, people dying and doing prayers. And on one side, we're doing everything that we can, but it's so difficult not to be angry and have those outbursts sometimes. After a very long time, I'm actually experiencing a lot of anger. So it's so difficult to really sustain it. And when I'm looking at it, that nothing can be done, just accept it. Somatically, it's also affecting me at times. So I don't know what to do. It's like, it's difficult. At such times, I watch myself. I'm seeing that I'm angry. I know that I'm not supposed to be angry, but it's difficult.
Yeah, but please don't be angry with yourself for being angry. That would be a third problem. There's first a problem out there, then you being angry with it, and then you being angry with yourself. I forgot to mention.
There's so much anger against the system. Every second day, there's so much happening. The Prime Minister is just, there's so much coming our way, but we're not being able to do anything. There's such a helpless situation. We can't shut ourselves. We have to be human. We want to help people. We want to reach out to them, but it's just...
Yeah, I forgot to mention earlier, but this applies here too. What Khyentse Rinpoche always says here, like aspiration, prayers, that is always what we can do, and even though it doesn't sound much, but he really trusts it, Also recently we had a meeting with Khyentse Rinpoche from Minjoling. That was not a teaching, and she was, because she's also in India, like Pallavi is also in India at the moment, and Khyentse Rinpoche is in India, but in Dehradun, so not so far actually. So she was telling about also about the sad and devastating situation there. How many corpses there are, next to the street, and they cook like 1,000 meals every day for the people in the village, the monastery, and so people have students from all over the world. They send messages. What can we do? Shall we send guitars? Was one example. Things like that. And she said, really, after half an hour, she explained how terrible that is in India at the moment. She said, really, just send your prayers. Money-wise, we are dealing okay at the moment. They even have money to get oxygen supply, even though it costs so much. So she's asking us just to send prayers and good wishes. I know that is not doesn't feel substantial, but I don't. And what we also can do, if, for example, you're saying
we're getting help from the international people, the countries, but it's not reaching us. People are dying helplessly with cylinders on the road. It's really, really sad. And sorry, I didn't want to make this about India.
No, it's good.
But that somatically, after a very long time, it's really affecting me, and I'm seeing that when I'm trying to do and just be okay with it, the anger is coming in, and the context is basically how to really be wise in managing the balance between doing what you can, but not being angry, but being at the same time, all these emotions coming your way,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I really, thank you so much, Pallavi, for sharing this. I'm assuming many of you have been to India before. I only went to India for pilgrimages, and it's so dear to my heart. And, it's so devastating, and especially also, in my opinion, what mainstream media is kind of doing with it. So thank you also, Arne, for just reminding that, yes, prayer, and as bizarre a word it is in English, but this rejoicing is so integral. But really, thank you for voicing this, and for just really sharing it. And I think this is already such an integral and powerful thing to do. So really, thank you. And
it's really difficult, and I think it's okay or healthy to just have some anger or outburst. Sometimes I just like a couple of hours back, I just had a very intense anger outburst about this system, like something just happened. So I think sometimes it's just okay to, I don't know, what do you say, Arne?
No, just one other thing, but that is not like a acute solution. But generally, Rinpoche also likes us always to create awareness about a specific situation. If people like are meat eaters, or let's spread the awareness, that animals are sentient beings, that they are suffering, or let's spread the awareness that 84,000, the project exists, so he doesn't ask for money, but just, that more and more people know, so that if you can plant that doubt, about the misdoing of government, in other people, in a good way, and like truthful, then that is also great. But I heard like many teachers in those situations, yes, sending love, or prayers. It doesn't matter if it's with words or not, but just sending good energy. And
actually, I mean, totally agree about the prayers bit. It helped a lot to really maintain some kind of sanity. Yeah, that one part of it really kind of, maybe that's one thing that I can keep going, because I can possibly manage to. But yeah.
But of course, for you,
maybe more of it.
But you have of course two jobs, like because you're in India and you want to help there, but also at the same time it's also important that you help, that you work on your own sanity. I mean, that is super important, that just for your own sake, that anger is destroying you. You can read the first parts of chapter 6. There's so many side effects of anger listed. I think they make sense, and that it really destroys your mental peace and your happiness. So, and that you for yourself, even if it's like sounds non-Buddhist, because you please think of yourself only, but you're not doing that anyway. So, but make sure that you also practice whatever meditation you do without focusing on the problem, but just to let go, to be more peaceful, more calm, more loving, more happy.
Yeah. So one good thing was it that there was a time where I completely avoided news for a very long time, to protect myself. But then I was like, how will I, kind of experience the full range of emotions if I don't open up to the world to see how much it can to an extent. Then I later thought that, okay, now is the time. I can't really shut myself down. So I have to face this. So it's good in one way that I'm really experiencing all this. Now I can come back and really do these practices and see, because there was a time where I didn't really experience some kind of emotions in all these things. So it's given me that kind of food for thought also. So the practices I will do.
And really, like Tonglen is maybe also good. But whatever helps you, whatever practice. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like I was always telling my patients, do sports. Doesn't matter what you do. Just do something, move a little bit. So therefore, here also just whatever all the Buddhist practices are always aimed at the same thing. Benefiting others and also benefiting yourself. So if you sometimes maybe it's good not to then listen to too many news and focus on that. I don't know, since a long time, Emilia wanted to, is it something related to Pahlavi or is it something totally different? Okay, then please.
Pahlavi and Katya as well.
Sorry?
To Katya as well, from what she was sharing with us, the anxiety with not having news from the hospital and so on and so forth. And I think we can somehow be, in a way, intellectual. I think a bit intellectual about it when we thinking about the teachings, but also there is one thing that can be helpful, but also kind of trying to, in the middle of everything that is happening, and of course we don't want that to happen, and this is why we are suffering. And in relation to all that's happening in India, I was born in Brazil. I see the shape of the situation there. My family is there, and it's really difficult. But in the middle of the whole shebang, to bring some awareness that we have a choice, even as difficult as it is. And well, just to share this, in a couple of years back, in 2018, I went to Brazil, and my mom, she was going to the hospital to have a pacemaker. They don't even call this an operation, okay? She entered on Thursday, and less than a week later, she passed away. It was just one complication after another. And of course you were there, and it's very heavy because you were seeing things that you don't want to see. And it's eventually is a kind of having to accept that this is all on cause and conditions. It's outside one's control. You know, we can't control. And I think this applies to you, Pahlavi, and Katya. And when I was back there, I was just seeing how the cause and conditions, how things were. And of course I cried, and it was the whole stuff. But eventually there was some acceptance. But one point, I asked help from Tara. And as much as, you know, it's like, well, when you ask for help from deities, you are actually as if everything is inside, is part of you. But I didn't see that way. I was actually really reaching out to Tara outside of me. And it was just amazing. It was just an experience. It's fantastic. And, but accepting, you know, because that's it. We can't control. It's like one day you are alive, the following day, you are out. You can be really healthy. And I think we all know about people really healthy. And then the following day they die. So this is what this thing is about, you know. And we can say it's really unfair, but then is samsara fair? I don't think it's fair at all. We just need to look to the side, and it's just suffering all over the place. You know, people paying for the lack of bad judgment from others, but then is there really a victim? You know what I mean? I mean, it's trying to keep sanity in the middle of these absolutely insane, sometimes seems like, wow, this is hell. But again, to see that it depends on one's mind, and trying to accept as much as possible. So what you were saying, and Katya, you know, emotional stuff, the losing, the attachment. We don't want to see. We want everyone to be okay. We want our loved ones to stay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just talk a lot, but
it's okay.
you know, it's very difficult. It's really tricky when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, sure. Since time is over, maybe Pallava, you want to say last things, or okay?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank
you, Amelia.
Yeah, thank you, all of you. I thought I put here some prayers of Bodhicaryavatara, which are quite good for medical kind of problems. So maybe this we can recite as the dedication, if you don't mind. I'm sorry for those who who eagerly wanted to go through many verses today. Maybe it's actually a better idea to do different sessions, like some sessions just for special events and Q&A. Maybe it's more fun. And then another session for more going through the text. Okay, I just share these few prayers here. They're just few stanzas from the Bodhicaryavatara. May every being ailing with disease be freed at once from every malady. May every sickness that afflicts the living be wholly and forever absent from the world. May every being ailing with disease be freed at once from every malady. May every sickness that afflicts the living be wholly and forever absent from the world. May all medicines be effective and the repeating of mantras successful. May darkinis, cannibals, and the like be endowed with compassionate minds. May all medicines be effective and the repeating of mantras successful. May darkinis, cannibals, and the like be endowed with compassionate minds. May beings never suffer anguish. Let them not be sick nor evilly behave. May they have no fear nor suffer insights. Always may their minds be free from sorrow. May beings never suffer anguish. Let them not be sick nor evilly behave. May they have no fear nor suffer insights. Always may their minds be free from sorrow. For all those ailing in the world, until their every sickness has been healed, may I myself become for them the doctor, nurse, the medicine itself. For all those ailing in the world, until their every sickness has been healed, may I myself become for them the doctor, nurse, the medicine itself. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we do the lung in 5 minutes. In case somebody wants to stay, I will just get something to drink. So now in my country, it's da-da-da, 36 minutes. So let's meet at da-da-da, 41 minutes, whatever that is in your thing, if you like. If not, just thank you so much for joining. For all those who are not staying, thank you so much. It was really nice also to see some old, unquote, quote unquote faces. Good old friends, I mean. And yeah, take good care and stay healthy and keep your inner sanity, really. Otherwise, we are not good for anyone. Okay, thank you so much. See you.